Emma Matthews stood frozen at the checkout counter of Wilson's Grocery, her face burning with embarrassment. The small pile of groceries, simple essentials like pasta, bread, milk, and baby formula sat, waiting to be bagged. The digital display showed $43.78, but Emma's wallet contained only $32.16. Her hands trembled as she counted the bills again, hoping for a mathematical miracle. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the cashier, a woman whose name tag read Doris. "I need to put some things back." Behind her, sighs and shuffling feet signaled the growing impatience of the Friday evening crowd. Emma's throat tightened. As a single mother working 2 jobs, she'd carefully calculated what she could afford, but the price of formula had increased since her last visit. "Which items would you like to remove?" Doris asked, her voice carrying just enough for those nearby. To hear Emma felt tears threatening. Her 1-year-old daughter, Lily, was at home with a neighbor, probably hungry by now. The formula wasn't negotiable, which meant sacrificing food for herself. "The pasta and bread, please," she managed, avoiding eye contact with anyone in line. "And the milk?" Doris asked. Emma hesitated. She needed that milk for Lily's cereal. "Keep it, please." As Doris began removing items, a deep voice spoke from behind Emma. "Add everything back. I'll cover it." Emma turned to see a tall man in a charcoal gray suit. His eyes were kind beneath dark-rimmed glasses, and he had the faintest hint of silver at his temples, despite appearing to be in his early 30s. "Oh no, I couldn't possibly," Emma began. "Please," he insisted quietly, sliding his credit card across the counter. "I remember what it's like." Something in his tone silenced her protests. The genuine empathy in his eyes lacked any trace of pity. "Thank you," Emma whispered as Doris rang up the full order. The stranger nodded. "I'm Michael Reeves." "Emma Matthews." She shifted her weight, uncertain what social protocol dictated in such moments. "I promise I'll pay it forward somehow." Michael smiled. "That's all anyone can ask." As Doris handed Emma her bags, Michael helped gather them. Their fingers brushed momentarily, sending an unexpected warmth through Emma's tired body. "Do you need help carrying these to your car?" he offered. "I took the bus," Emma admitted. "But—" "I can manage." Michael frowned slightly. "At least let me help you to the stop." Outside, the autumn air carried the first real chill of October. As they walked the short distance to the bus stop, Emma learned Michael was a software engineer who'd recently moved to Chicago after a divorce. "Sometimes kindness from strangers is what gets us through," he said as her bus approached. Emma impulsively pulled out a receipt and scribbled her number. "If you'd like coffee sometime as thanks." Michael's smile brightened his entire face as he accepted the paper. "I'd like that very much." As Emma boarded the bus, clutching her groceries, she felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Fluttering possibility of hope. 3 days passed with no call from Michael. Emma chided herself for the disappointment that settled in her chest. What had she expected? Men like him, successful, handsome, kind, didn't usually pursue. Single mothers working as a diner waitress by day and office cleaner by night. Thursday evening found Emma wiping down tables at Lou's Diner, her feet aching after a 10-hour shift. The bell above the door jingled, and she turned to greet the customer with her practiced smile only to freeze when she saw Michael Reeves standing awkwardly by the entrance, scanning the nearly empty restaurant. Their eyes met, and his face brightened. "Emma," he said, crossing to her table. "I'm so glad I found you." She self-consciously tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "How did you know I worked here?" "I didn't," Michael admitted, looking slightly embarrassed. "I've been to 3 diners in this neighborhood. I lost your number when my phone fell into a puddle yesterday. I was hoping I might find you." Emma's heart skipped. He had actually looked for her. "You could have just bought more groceries for." Another desperate mom, she joked, trying to mask how touched she felt. Michael's expression turned serious. I wanted to see you again. Just you. Their conversation flowed easily as Emma finished her shift. She learned Michael had grown up poor in Boston, raised by a single mother who worked multiple jobs. His success in tech came after years of community, college night classes, and coding in every spare moment. I remember standing in line with my mom when her card was declined. He told Emma as they shared a slice of pie at a corner booth after her shift. A woman behind us covered our groceries. That night, Emma felt a connection forming, a shared understanding of struggle rarely found in her limited dating life, since Lily's father had abandoned them before her birth dot as the diner closed. Michael walked Emma to the bus stop. This time, when he asked for her number, he immediately entered it into his new phone. Would you and Lily like to join me at the Children's Museum this Saturday? He asked. They have a new exhibit about butterflies. Emma hesitated, protective instincts flaring. Meeting at a diner was one thing, but introducing Lily to a virtual stranger felt like crossing a boundary. Michael seemed to read her thoughts. Too soon, I understand. Maybe coffee first? Emma suggested. Just us? His smile returned. I'd like that. As they parted ways, Emma felt both cautious and exhilarated. Life had taught her to guard her heart, especially where Lily was concerned. But something about Michael's genuine interest made her willing to take a small risk. What she didn't know was that fate had more surprising connections in store, ones that would soon make their chance encounter at the grocery store seem like more than mere coincidence. By their third date, Emma knew she was falling for Michael. They'd shared coffee, taken a walk along Lake Michigan, and enjoyed dinner at a small Italian restaurant where he'd insisted on paying despite her protests. Each meeting revealed more layers to the man who'd saved her from humiliation. That day at the grocery store. Today, they sat on a park bench watching children play while Lily napped in her stroller. Emma had finally agreed to introduce them, and Michael had approached the meeting with touching nervousness, arriving with a small stuffed elephant that instantly became Lily's favorite. My mother would have loved you, Michael said suddenly, his eyes on the playground, but his thoughts clearly elsewhere. Would have? Emma asked gently. She passed away last year. Cancer. His voice carried the weight of still fresh grief. She was only 58. Emma placed her hand over his. I'm sorry. Michael turned his palm up to intertwine their fingers. She grew up in this area, actually. Worked as a nurse at Mercy Hospital for almost 30 years. Emma stilled. Mercy Hospital? My mom was a patient there for months before she died, 6 years ago. Something shifted in Michael's expression. What was her name? Catherine Matthews. Everyone called her Kate. Michael's face paled. Oncology ward? 4th floor? Emma's heart began to race. Yes. How did you know? My mother was Catherine Matthews' primary nurse. Eleanor Reeves. His voice grew soft with disbelief. She used to talk about a patient named Kate who had a teenage daughter who practically lived at the hospital. Said she'd never seen such devotion. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. Eleanor? Your mother was Nurse Ellie? Tears filled her eyes. She snuck me ice cream from the staff lounge when I stayed overnight. She let me sleep in the recliner, even though it was against policy. They stared at each other, processing this impossible connection. She kept a photo of your mother on our refrigerator for years, Michael whispered. Sad Kate taught her more about grace in dying than anyone she'd ever met. Emma wiped away tears. Your mother held my hand when Mom took her last breath. I was only 18 and terrified. She stayed 3 hours past her shift. Lily stirred in her stroller, breaking the moment with a sleepy whimper. As Emma reached to comfort her daughter, Michael remained motionless, visibly processing the revelation. All these years, he finally said, Our mothers knew each other, cared for each other, and somehow we met at a random grocery store, Emma added. Michael shook his head in wonder. Maybe not so random. That evening, as Michael helped Emma prepare dinner in her small apartment, they pieced together more connections. Eleanor had helped fund a small memorial garden for Kate at the hospital, a place Emma still visited on her mother's birthday. Michael had contributed to the garden's maintenance fund for years, without knowing its significance to the woman he was now falling in love with. "Do you believe in fate?" Michael asked as they stood side by side washing dishes. Emma considered the question. Before meeting Michael, she might have scoffed. Life had taught her that struggle, not destiny, shaped most paths. But now, "I believe. Our mothers would be pleased," she answered, leaning her head against his shoulder as Lily played contentedly at their feet. 8 months into their relationship, Emma and Michael faced their first serious challenge. Michael's company offered him a promotion that would double his salary but require relocation to Seattle. The opportunity was too significant to dismiss, but the thought of separating tore at both their hearts. "Come with me," Michael suggested one rainy April evening. They sat on Emma's worn couch after putting Lily to bed. "Both of you." Emma's heart raced at the suggestion. "Michael, we can't just—" "Why not?" He took her hands. "I love you, Emma. I love Lily. These past months had been the happiest of my life." The words hung between them, the first time either had spoken of love. "I love you too," Emma whispered. "But our whole lives are here. My job, Lily's daycare." "You've mentioned wanting to finish your nursing degree," Michael countered. "Seattle has excellent schools, and I can afford a place where Lily could have her own room." The possibility tempted Emma more than she wanted to admit. Their relationship had progressed steadily, with Michael becoming a fixture in their lives. Lily, now nearly 2, called him Mikey and reached for him almost as readily as she reached for Emma. But fear lingered. Emma had been abandoned before, left to raise Lily. Alone when pregnancy had scared away a boyfriend who'd promised forever. Moving across the country would make her entirely dependent on Michael, a vulnerability she wasn't sure she could risk. "What if it doesn't work out?" she asked, voicing her deepest fear. Michael's expression grew serious. "I can't promise perfection, Emma, but I can promise effort, commitment. I'll sign whatever legal document you want guaranteeing Lily's security and your ability to return here if things don't work." His willingness to acknowledge her concerns rather than dismiss them touched Emma deeply. "I need time," she said finally. The following weeks brought intense soul-searching. Emma researched nursing programs in Seattle, visited potential apartments. Through virtual tours Michael arranged, and even contacted daycare centers. Michael, meanwhile, negotiated with his company for relocation assistance and a delayed start date. 2 days before Michael needed his answer, Emma's landlord announced a significant rent increase, one that would stretch her budget beyond breaking point. That night, as a spring thunderstorm rattled the windows of her apartment, Emma made her decision. "Yes," she told Michael over the phone. "We'll come with you." His joyful response warmed her, but later, lying awake listening to the storm, doubts crept back. Was she making a massive mistake, uprooting their lives for a relationship still in its early stages? The next morning, she woke to find water seeping under her front door. A pipe had burst in the apartment above, flooding her entryway and kitchen. As she frantically moved belongings to higher ground, Michael arrived, having driven through morning traffic after her panicked call. Without hesitation, he rolled up his sleeves and worked alongside her, comforting Lily and coordinating with emergency maintenance. Hours later, surveying the damage to her waterlogged apartment, Emma realized the flood had washed away her remaining doubts. Life offered no certainties, but Michael had proven repeatedly that he would show up, not just for the joy, but for the disasters too. I think the universe is telling us it's time to move, Michael joked, wringing out a soaked towel. Emma laughed through her exhaustion. I think you might be right. 2 years after moving to Seattle, Emma stood in the checkout line of their neighborhood grocery store, a small velvet box hidden in her coat pocket. Beside her, Michael loaded their groceries onto the conveyor belt while 3-year-old Lily helped by arranging items by color. Life had transformed in ways Emma once couldn't have imagined. She was halfway through her nursing program, excelling in classes while balancing motherhood. Michael had been promoted again, now leading his own development team. Their modern apartment overlooked the water, and Lily had blossomed in her new preschool dot. But the greatest change was in Emma herself, the confidence she'd gained, the trust she'd learned to extend, the future she now believed possible. Will you need help out today? The cashier asked as Michael paid. We're good, thanks, Emma replied, her fingers brushing the ring box in her pocket. Outside, the rare February sunshine bathed the street in golden light. As they walked home, Michael pushed Lily's stroller while Emma's mind rehearsed the speech she'd prepared. Can we stop at the park? Michael asked suddenly, pointing to the small green space they passed daily. It's almost lunchtime, Emma began, then saw the hopeful look on Lily's face. Okay, but just for a bit. At the park, Michael suggested they sit on a bench while Lily explored the nearby sandbox under their watchful eyes. Do you remember the day we met? He asked, taking Emma's hand. She smiled. Of course. You saved me from the humiliation of putting back half my groceries. I've been thinking about that day, Michael continued. How different life would be if I'd chosen another checkout line. If you'd gone shopping an hour earlier. Or if our mothers hadn't met years before, Emma added. Michael nodded, his expression growing serious. I don't believe it was coincidence, Emma. I think some connections are meant to be. Before Emma could respond, he slid from the bench onto one knee. Michael, she gasped. Emma Matthews, he said, producing a small ring box identical to the one in her pocket. You and Lily have made my life complete. Will you marry me? Laughter bubbled from Emma's throat as she pulled out her own velvet box. Only if you'll marry me too. Michael's eyes widened. You were going to propose? Today? Great minds think alike, Emma said, opening her box to reveal a titanium band she'd saved for months to purchase. Michael opened his to show a diamond ring that caught the winter sunlight. So is that a yes? He asked, eyes twinkling. It's a yes, Emma confirmed as Lily abandoned her sandbox to investigate the commotion. Later that evening, as they celebrated with takeout and sparkling cider and extra ice cream for Lily, Emma reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From the embarrassment of that grocery store encounter to this moment of perfect joy, their path had been neither straight nor easy, but every step had led them home. To the beginning, Michael toasted, raising his glass. And to all the groceries yet to come, Emma added with a smile dot in the warm light of their kitchen, surrounded by the family they'd built together. Emma knew with certainty that some acts of kindness changed not just moments, but entire lives.